everyone, welcome back to the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Molly O'Brien. This is Wayne Pitman. He's with Laurel Hill MicroFarms, and we have two goats here. I don't know how much you can kind of see Ginger, but we'll make sure that we post pictures. And we're going to talk about goat-scaping. So of course I had to make the pun, Wayne, of goat local live. I mean, like, yes. I just had to do it. So thank you for bringing two goats to Providence. I'm sure it was kind of fun walking around the city with two goats. People are looking at you with leashes.
They draw lots of attention, but we've worked in cities, and they draw lots of attention.
That's awesome. Okay, so you told me mini goats, so I had something, I was envisioning very small goats, and these don't seem that small.
These are tiny. Oh yeah, I didn't actually know until we adopted these guys that they came this small.
Really?
Our standard size goats are much larger.
Like how big? Talk to me in terms of size.
200 pounds when they stand on their hind legs. They're 8.5 feet tall.
What? 8.5 feet tall?
Yep.
That's a standard goat?
Yeah. It's standard Simon or Nubian, maybe that tall, but for a Simon it's pretty typical. So our goat, we have mini ponies that are smaller than some of our bigger goats.
Oh my goodness gracious.
These guys, they're tiny.
These guys are tiny. All right, so let's talk a little bit. The reason why I had you in, and I was so fascinated to chat with you on the phone just the other day, to talk about goat-scaping. And I'm from the West Coast, and I had heard about this before. It's really actually pretty popular. I didn't know that we had it on the East Coast, and so it's pretty exciting. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about what goat-scaping is for people that don't know?
Well, goat-scaping is using goats to clear land. They don't landscape, they clear everything. They get rid of invasives, and if you have invasives that are giving you a problem, they come back every year and they can eradicate them better than chemicals and other things. Especially Japanese knotweed, Phragmites, they've proven really well against the chemicals in studies done by universities with large goat herds that they concentrate them on to eradicate all of the invasives. These guys are a little bit too small to use for that.
Okay, so maybe they're too small to be eating certain kinds of things. And why has this been found to be more environmentally friendly than, say...
If it's used properly, it's more environmentally friendly. It can be environmentally not friendly if you were to use goats over and over in the same area and not replant them, say. If you don't replant the area and give another root structure, you're subject to erosion, and you're ruining the land as opposed to helping it.
Oh.
So goats will help remove it naturally without chemicals, and immediately after a goat's been through, all of the seeds that they've consumed are dead. Where a horse will pass seed through, a goat does not. They digest most of it.
Oh my gosh, it's fascinating.
And then you can replant immediately because you haven't used any chemicals. There's nothing injuring the soil, and they fertilize it. So you can immediately replant. The next year they come back, and if you replanted the right stuff, they'll eat the bad invasives, and they'll leave behind what you've planted.
That's so interesting. So when you're going out and you're working with whomever, whether it be a business or home, do you give suggestions on what people should replant, or do you work with people in that area at all, or are you pretty much just the goat-scape guy?
We do the goat-scaping part of it. We
Yeah.
will make suggestions, and we have other people that we would refer people to do a major replant, because we just do the clearing.
Yeah, that's good. That would give
maintaining, and we will work with whoever's doing the replanting to put things that the goats might not like, but that are still really nice. We'll leave behind, and then they can go and weed out. They do well in mud meadows. They will eat grass last, so they eat all around the grass, take out the weeds and the invasives and the vines and everything. So they do well in that.
That's so interesting. So based on what is planted, what's not planted, they'll come in and eat in certain order.
Yep.
Well, how about that? Okay, so talk to me just a little bit about different types of goat-scaping companies, because you said that some are better than others, and it's not like we're plugging your business, but in terms of the way certain businesses treat their animals, you said you don't leave your animals unattended, and I thought it was pretty surprising that some might just go drop off their animals and leave them there. So talk to me just a little bit about that, if people are interested in this, maybe the way you go about how you handle with your animals.
All right, goats, of all of our farm animals, any animal I can think of, are more unpredictable and more able to escape than anybody I've ever met. leaving goats with inexperienced people is a bad idea. So yeah, we do stay with our goats. There are other companies in the West Coast where you're from went through these growing pains in the 1970s. People would rent out their goats. You'd rent 2 to 4, 6, 8 goats, and then you were responsible for giving them food, water, and there might be a temporary fence up, but you were there, you had to maintain that. And as a homeowner, when you go to work and you come home and the goats are gone, that's usually a big problem. Another thing to look for is you don't really want to have goats that may be giving birth.
Oh my God.
We typically use wethers and those that are non-milking. We don't breed anymore, or we're just not planning on breeding because we only breed a couple a year. But we never bring a lactating doe, a baby, or an intact male. Most people might not understand the intact male thing, and all summer long that might seem like an okay idea, but come the end of summer they can be very dangerous, not only to the other goats but to people. they just go a little crazy. It's not their fault, huh, Roger? But another thing is our goats, when they are old and done with goatscaping, they can't do it for whatever reason, or they've been injured, we have a retirement plan, and the other goats support the goats that are injured or elderly, and we keep them and let them live out their life on our farm. Some goatscaping companies will buy a massive herd at the beginning of the year, goatscape with them, and then slaughter them at the end of the year. Which, yeah,
Roger, you're safe, don't worry. Oh, geez. Okay, so that's another thing to think about, to be, if that matters to you when you're looking into a business. Yes.
Yeah, and I find most people throughout New England are looking for the goats. They're using them as a green alternative, but a lot of people are just animal lovers, and they like to employ an animal.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They enjoy the time there, and the goats do a wonderful job.
And so we were talking, you'd sent me an email earlier that said you had some goats, but they got into poison ivy, so you didn't want to bring those ones, which I thought was so interesting because it can still be on their skin, and I was like, well, that makes sense. They're out eating stuff. So what's the kind of business that you're usually getting to? You're also headed out for a project that's going to be pretty extensive. So what's the kind of work that you normally get into? Is it homes? Is it businesses? And what do you do?
We do a lot of, I would call them semi-commercial. We work with the EPA. They have stone walls, and I'll say in New England and what we've been doing, it's a lot of stone walls. They're very hard to maintain for people. Another area is riprap, which is the broken up stone along dams that are on the edge of the dam for the water to seep through.
Oh,
but they will be hundreds of feet high, and these guys can walk up and down without breaking an ankle. Town workers have a nasty tendency to break an ankle, get poison ivy. So these guys can get down on those rocks and never have an issue.
That's so interesting.
So stone walls are stone walls in that type of situation, and that can really be either commercial or residential. A lot of people have poison ivy in their backyard, and we'll do just a day trip over there. And we're there for about 10 hours, and they get rid of all the poison ivy, and then we're off. And the bigger jobs, we camp out in a tent and let the goats do their thing.
You camp out in a tent?
But yeah, that's where we are. Some of the goats try to camp with us. They get a van and a horse trailer to sleep in.
That's really fun. So another part of your business / mission, you're looking to work on having a sanctuary or a rescue. Talk to me a little bit about that and why that's important to you, and kind of what your goals are.
Well, goats have become very popular, but along with a lot of other farm animals, mini pigs, and I think a lot of people get into them not understanding quite what they're getting into.
Yeah, a lot of people have dogs and cats growing up, and then they think, oh, here's a pig, and then have no idea what it is.
Right, and those guys need home, and
Yeah.
a lot of rescues do some help, but then we've recently had some entire farms that were shut down due to poor conditions.
Yeah.
They were all over the newspaper, and
Yeah.
they had to leave Rhode Island. They had to leave the area, and there was no place in Rhode Island that could accept them. To be a rescue, you have to have a quarantine area, and it's not like it's a good quarantine area if you have other animals on the property, because you have to have some space between. You have to have separate housing for them. They can be there 30, 60, or longer days. waiting to get clearance from the vets. And then when they do get clearance, you need space for them before you can rehome them. And I think rehoming them is pretty easy to do. There's a lot of small farms around that will do that, but then you have those that have medical needs, or there's a caprine arthritic encephalitis, CAE, very common in goats, but farms don't want that brought to them because it can be deadly. It's a terrible disease, so you need a space for those, and that's where our sanctuary ends. We want to be able to take the goats that can't go on or can work and place the ones that are in between, like Ginger and Roger. They're our mascots, but we do see a lot of the mini goats that need homes.
So what are kind of your goals? Are you looking to just get established, to get accreditation in terms of a sanctuary? Are you looking for?
I think, yeah, exactly, to become established. We have the veterinarian in place. We've been talking to other animal shelters that are helping us out, and that's basically what we want. We have 28 acres of land. We have all the expertise and the best veterinary care. We just need to know where to go from there to start helping the animals as opposed to just employing ours.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you guys are based out of what, Hope Valley?
No, Hope.
Oh, okay.
We get our hay from Hope Valley. It's interesting. We're right in the center of the state between Situate and Coventry.
Amazing. So can people come, because you are on a farm and then the goats are there, so people can come visit?
Oh yeah, just give us a phone call. If you go on our website, you can give us a call, and as long as somebody's there, and there's usually somebody there, they're more than welcome to come down and play with goats and ponies.
I mean, because who doesn't want to at this point? Yeah, please, Ginger, please do not eat our cord or our equipment, because then we will not be able, no one will be able to see you.
We replace trailer hitch wiring monthly because
they eat it all. Wayne, this has been absolutely incredible and pretty insightful. What else do you think people should know when it comes to either goats or maybe choosing goatscaping versus something else? Or do you think it's becoming more popular in a good way or a bad way, or both?
I think both. I think people are definitely becoming more aware. I think people that are interested in owning goats, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I just would be very aware that they'll never be a pet. They make great companions. They'll follow you around. They'll be your best friend. But they don't obey. They don't sit. They don't fetch. They will help you. You can train them to be a service animal, but they're not a dog or a cat. They're just, there's something different.
They're companions, not pets.
Exactly.
I like that. I think that's a good, interesting point. Wayne, thank you so much. I appreciate it with Laurel Hill MicroFarms, Herd of Hope Goatscaping. You're going to be out busy for the next couple weeks on a big project. So, but check them out. We'll have a link on our website. I definitely want a picture with you and the goats. So we're going to get them escorted out of here safely and then set up for our next guest. So thank you so much for joining us. This has been